Dear Harstem, I've written you so many times that I'm starting to feel like Stan from that Eminem song, LOL. Let's be frank, Taran Mac is Imba. Damns the facts, homie, is actually what it says. I will shout it from the rooftops, if I must. So, the other day, I ran into the Taran player, aptly named Teabag. Very indicative of the butt whipping I was about to receive, winky face. I fully acknowledge I ain't no awesome pro player. Once again, really what it says. Like you, my shameless attempt at flattery, haha. Build orders are kind of like guidelines for me. Like parlay for pirates. But hey, I love the game and want to have fun. That being said, I had a pretty sweet start. I felt like I scouted well, had good vision, but then the harassment starts. Silly benches are annoying and can cloak. What nonsense is this? But I rallied, even caught a few drops and took out a few dropships. And hey, started feeling good about myself. Had a few engagements where I feel I traded well. I felt the game was about to be in hand. I even sent a DT run by that took out a base. Then literally all Mr. Teabag does is make a few tanks, a few Thors, and boom, my army is routed. I thought Immortals were a good counter. You referenced that silly info sheet that's in game, and hey, I made those bad boys. Guess what? Didn't freaking matter. My army is wiped out and boom, there goes the dynamite. Game over. Taran Mac is outrageously Imba. Tanks DPS is nuts, and Thors when used in combination with them make them impossible to beat. This is literally my 20th letter to you. Don't make me throw my PC off of a cliff. Haha. Please see reason and agree Taran Mac is Imba. Sincerely yours, Stan. Isn't it your biggest fan? Stan, aka Sleepless in Seattle. Name MS Van G. Race Protoss, League Gold, MMR 2600. Alright, let's hop into this replay after these balance reports are getting longer and longer. Just because you write more doesn't mean you're more correct. You could have probably try to summarize a little bit, guys, okay? It's a little bit shorter. There's no need to write me entire essays about why you believe with your 2600 MMR. My Terran is imbalanced. I'm very curious. He said build orders are like guidelines. Now, the beauty of guidelines often is that you don't need to completely stick to them, but that you just have to kind of remain close to them. So that is how we are going to be judging MS Venji. In this game, is seeing how close he will stay with the build order. How close will it be? That's going to be one thing that I'm definitely going to be looking at a little bit. So he starts with a low ground wall. Okay, that's interesting. It is a PvT, so it's not really necessary, but it's completely playable. I'm not flaming this. It's completely possible to get a low ground wall, core before Nexus, and just chrono and adapt across the map to deny your opponent's command center. That is a fine opener. Oh, look at that. This guy's even gonna go at the correct time. Well, almost the correct time. So usually what I'd say for the Cybercore to go down, I'd say 124 is a good time. 124, 125 the latest. This went down at 131, but it is what it is, you know. You can't always win and get all the buildings down. Like we're talking gold here, you know. We're not expecting the highest level. We're not expecting a lot, to be honest. Expectations are low, and yet I have a feeling that our good friend MSNG is going to be able to kind of dive under the bar that we already set at the lowest possible setting. Second piling's coming down. We have a chrono boost on... Whenever I see a chrono boost on Warpgate, I immediately get suspicious, because I don't think in my long time of watching IOTA's replays that I've once seen a chrono boost on a Warpgate that did anything, okay? Let me just remind everyone what a chrono boost actually does. A chrono boost decreases the amount of time in a research, or in a unit that is building by 10 seconds. If it hits the full duration, which means that now a warp-in will be 10 seconds faster. This tends to be completely useless because most of the time you're not even going to have a second gateway unit yet, so you're chrono boosting out Warp Gate for your single gateway, which makes very little sense. Like, you just want to warp in a single unit real fast. Makes no sense to me. Second gateway is going down. This build, by the way, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this looks a lot, well, I'm not sure about the battery, but a lot like my robotics facility guide. I'm not quite sure what it's called. I think it's called Crazy Colossi or something like that. Very similar build order here. I'm not upset by it, okay? Now we get to see what the Warp Gate research is. Oh, look at that. This is just a thing of beauty. Chrono boost the Warp Gate research, so it's done 10 seconds faster. Then as the Warp Gate research finishes, he starts another Stalker. So his first Warp Gate is actually going to morph, what, a solid 20 seconds after the Warp Gate finishes, or what, 15 seconds. And thus the chrono was completely useless. It's almost like I can predict what's going to happen in these games these days, because I've seen it so much. I know exactly... Okay, this is not my Crazy Colossus guide. Forge Twilight and Forgas. Now we're talking. I do like the observer position, by the way. That's looking tight. Okay, and so usually when you play Forge Twilight, what you want is you want a very heavy mineral army, because you're most likely going to be wanting zealots. Just going 2-base Blink Stalker with +1 is not actually good. So you probably want to get maybe like fast Blink into charge, and thus you want a faster third base rather than getting more gases. Unless you're rushing Storm or Robo Bay, you don't actually need to get 4 gases before your third base. Or maybe if you play Stargate. So, yeah, okay. Well, wait, no. Why do I say okay? I wasn't expecting the charge, because the charge makes the least sense with this. You'll see that the gas count is going to rise, and there, yeah, he said AKA Sleepless in Seattle, which means he's American, which then again explains his affinity for having big amounts of gas that he doesn't really need. Oh, Banshee's gonna roll in here. This indeed is very annoying. Not the slowest response time, also wasn't a quick response time, but it wasn't the slowest either. Okay, we need to keep in mind that this is Gold League level, and that both players are just going to be a little bit slower. A super battery could have been activated here. Not quite the case, but that's okay. It's Banshee. Who could have predicted that the Banshee would fly back? If only we had a way to defend 2 bases at the same time, perhaps by leaving a Stalker over here, rather than running like a... I like that he did it again. You know, he didn't learn from his mistake the first 2 times, then did it a 3rd time. But luckily for him, the Terran decided not to fly back into the main base. Could have just kept ping-ponging in between the main and the natural again and again and again. Now, this Banshee, technically we could react to it, but we could also just idle our units in our natural for a little bit longer. That also makes a lot of sense. This is the one. This is the most ambitious Banshee that I've seen in my life. You're like, my friends, yeah, I know they went for workers, but me, I got a pylon and I started working on the gateway as well. I got like 200 shields of that gateway, alright? I did a good job. This isn't even mech. I've been lied to? Did he? No, okay, it's the correct thing. He said teabag. He was talking about mech. Am I going wild in the head? Terran mech is Imba. Damns the facts, homie. He's playing bio. What? This guy has 4 barracks. I completely forgot what we were looking at here. What is this, by the way? Okay, there's another observer. Another observer. I wouldn't mind having an observer here for full vision. Get a unit at the watchtower for some added vision on as well. There's an awful small amount of things happening this game, I have to admit. Robobay finally coming out. Okay, this is... I know that you said that you see build orders at guidelines. But this is more like that if it's said that the guideline is to eat 5 potatoes a day, then what we kind of mean with that guideline is that it's fine to also eat 4 potatoes. Or 6 potatoes, okay? What you do instead is you need to eat 5 potatoes a day and you put an eggplant in your nose hole, you know? Like, try to stuff them. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It has nothing to do with the guideline. This is a completely different thing than anything I have ever seen, and hopefully different than anything I will ever see in the future. This is a warning for everyone as well that is looking at this and thinks, oh, that's fun. This looks like a build order. This is not a builder. What is this cannon doing? What is this cannon defending? If you're gonna get harassed, it's gonna come from here. This cannon is defending this population of fish. In that case, that's a good cannon. I'm gonna let it be. Okay, here you catch a dropship. You're very proud of that. You started feeling good about yourself here. I actually can't believe that I'm looking at a game that is considered mech. Just because he builds 2 tanks doesn't make it mech. This is bio. He went for stim. He should have combat shields on the way, yeah. And he has 4 barracks. And he's getting an armory. Okay, maybe he's gonna be going to some bio mech. You hate to see it. When's the last time you built a worker? Oh, there's one building here. So, about 5 seconds ago. Well, that question got answered quickly. Very rapidly even. +2. Thermal lens as well. Okay, I love the vision that you have. I find it very impressive that you have 5 observers and still manage to miss this move out completely. Like, I feel like we could give you MAPHACK and you'd still be out of position this entire time. Oh? I mean, you're gonna win this fight, that's for sure. The other guy just wasn't even siege with his tanks. Okay. 1,000 gas in the bank, as predicted. Who could have thought that taking 4 gases this fast with an army that doesn't require a lot of gas would get you to float a lot of gas? That really is wild. Okay, so you manage to take out a big portion of your opponent's army. You decide, hey, I want to counterattack now and do some damage. I kind of feel like you should just win. There's no reinforcements. Okay, so you're building a prism. Now this is absolutely fantastic. What is this? And why weren't they included? I want to see this again. This entire interaction, okay? So let's see. He walks up here. Sees a tank. Yes, okay, he has full vision. I keep forgetting he has full vision the entire time. He just can't judge anything. But he actually has full vision. What? I missed that earlier. How did I miss that earlier? Some cannibalism going on. Okay. So he sees everything that there is. Gets shelled by a tank and his opponent stims. Then he's like, oh, that is way bigger than I saw just half a second ago. Let me run back. I see my opponent is going back to doing nothing. Let me recall my army. Great sequence. This was a great sequence. I wish there was a second part of this. I kind of want to see this again, but no, we can't just keep repeating the same thing over. It's like the people that watch like Shrek 12 times. It's like, come on, buddy. You know that the ogre is gonna marry the princess now. You don't need to watch it again. People who do that, why do you always watch the same movies? Don't you want to watch something new every now and then? It's like the lifestyle of an 85-year-old. At that point, it makes sense, you know? It's like, you kind of want to watch that you know you enjoy it, but when you're 12 or 13, why do kids like doing that? How does that make any sense? Kids should be the one that are constantly exploring new things. They seem to be, you know... I remember when I was a kid, I watched Peter Pan like 8 times. It's not even that good of a movie. It's not like you're finding new things with every watch. You're like, oh, Tinkerbell's wearing a pink dress. You're like, no, like, it's useless. Maybe, okay, now we're going into... This isn't mech. This is a single factory producing factory units. And because your opponent has so little bio units, it looks like mech, but this is not mech. How are you gonna lose this game though? You have 2k gas. Now, As Protoss, you have this structure called the Templar Archives, which allows you to throw away your gas into a unit that is extremely good, called the Archon. Oh my god, you have so many cannons. The cannons will just be able to hold this, won't they be? Let's have a look. At your response time, okay? Robotics facility, okay. You look at the cannons. Pull away the workers. Maybe super battery it? No, not necessary. Okay. Well, no super battery, but the rest, honestly, not too bad. I'm kind of okay with that. Okay. The problem is that you have 1800 gas. You're not using it. Your fort base started at the 12-minute mark. This is a good DT. Well, it's not really a run by because it is on the sides, but it is a DT attack, and I like that. You know, I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. These 3 DTs, they did a buzzing job. Go on, get some vision again. There's no way you're gonna... No, actually, there is a way. You have an 18-second warning, but there's no way you're looking at this observer or dealing with these drops. Oh my god. This is just like with the Banshee. Do you not understand that if there is a dead space, he can fly over it and come out on the other side? It's not like it's a black hole where he goes in and he pops out. Well, I believe you don't actually pop out of black holes anymore and just dies. No. Dead space can begin here and end here, and then you can fly back and forth. And you have vision of it again. How can you have this much vision and be so blind at the same time? It's like you get too much stimulation or something like that, you know? If you know too much, too many things happening at the same time. See people that get over-entertained, you know? Watching a movie, refreshing their Instagram, talking with their sister on the phone at the same time. Something like that. That's what you do while playing StarCraft. You're just constantly looking around at things because you have so much vision. Oh, look at them fishes. I'd also be kind of distracted if I saw these fishes. Yeah, cool fishes. Anyway, T-Bag's moving forward, and this indeed is a massive mech army. I can't believe that you thought this was mech. Like, Immortals are not the counter to this. Well, Immortal Charge is fine, but I'd say Colossi or Disruptor, just your standard army would do even better. You're lacking about, what is this? Well, 7 Archons that could be in your army. Let's not forget that. Finally, you're gonna get vision of your opponent. 5 observers again. 5 observers, and now you get vision. Completely out of position, so you need to run back. By the time you arrive back home, you're already gonna have lost your base. Yeah, this is actually the weirdest game I've seen in my life. It actually is. It just doesn't make any sense. Just none of it made any sense. Why is there DTs in your army? Why is there no Templar? Why didn't you morph these into Archons? Why are you still almost winning this fight? Why did you reinforce with 4 DTs? Are you winning? No. The answer is no. Now your opponent is actually playing mech. Mech bio combination with a Raven. This is... I actually have no clue what to say. The weird thing is that I'm not even quite sure what you did wrong specifically. Like, it felt like you have some knowledge. It seems like you have a brain as well. Okay, well, now I'm not so sure. What is this move? It's a run by through your opponent's army. Like, basically what you're doing is you played something that resembled a build order for the first 2.5 minutes. Then you went and did your own garbage. It's like if you were in like one of these Bob Ross classes, you know? And you start by drawing 1-3. And then you just grab your paint bottle and you just squirt it all out over your paper. You smash your face into it. And then you start licking the paper like a complete idiot. I feel like that's kind of what I watched here. Like, you started with the tree, okay? The happy little tree is what you started with. And you end up licking your painting. Which is not good for you, by the way. This is bad for your health, this type of game. If you play more than 5 games like this a week, I would recommend quitting. I really would, because the amount of stress and frustration that you don't only give yourself, but other people that have to watch this hot piling heap of garbage is very, very high. I was happy with that insult. Alright, well, you're dead. It's time to leave, so we can get to the good part here. G. Now, I think this game deserved more than 1 G. Your opponent absolutely blasted you with the weirdest army comp, with the weirdest build I've seen in my life. Okay, quick look at the balance form. What do you say? Mech is broken. Okay, first of all, we're going to make 3 categories. First is game knowledge. Mech consists of units that mainly come from the factory. This was bio with a factory to supplement into biomech hybrid. You get an F, a massive, huge suck, and an F. 2 stamps for this one. Your game knowledge is negative. People that know nothing know more than you. Second, your vision. For your vision, you get a good. Your vision was really good. You had observers all over the map, almost the entire time. You saw everything. I give you a good. Then we have a bonus category, using the vision. For that, I don't even know what stamp to give you. Freaking terrible, god awful, the worst, kinda like the worst. Pop, the worst. Actually, the worst use of vision that I've ever seen in my life. Then to end with, your unit composition, you are lacking Archons completely. I don't mind the Immortals as much, but if you have some Archons here for tanking, it's gonna help so much. Add a couple of Zealots in as well. Don't get DTs as a fighting army. A DT is 125 minerals, 125 gas. Instead, what you can do is you spend that money on Zealots and High Templar, and then you morph the High Templar into Archon. That has really nice synergy. You get a lot of Zealots and you get a lot of Archons with that as well, rather than having to build these very expensive DTs that are really only good for harassing. So on that, you're also gonna get an extremely mediocre to atrocious stamp. Congratulations, my friend. Altogether, you suck. Alright, that's going to be it for today's episode of Is It Imba or Do I Suck? Where once again we had someone who sucked. If you think that you don't suck and that it is indeed imbalanced, be sure to submit a replay in the replay submitting form below. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you had a great time. I didn't. Bye bye. Like,